Hiding stupid rags, dummy casts, silly bands.
Hello everyone, greetings from the third video. We are here today to talk about the third algorithm question, but before taking those steps, if you are a perfect listener in your university or in your bootcamp, if you say that like I'm a perfect listener, I can listen perfectly, but when it comes to coding, I have some problems. I cannot code it by myself. I need help. If you are telling this to me, or if you say that like in English, I have some problems, I'm not sure whether if I will be given one definition, one task, and I will understand it perfectly, correctly, and implement it. I have some problems for understanding. If you are telling me those, so just here you are. We are here to improve those skills today, and let's get started, guys, diving into those skills, understanding the task, and then coding in a good way. Let's get started. Hello, guys. Like I recorded the video indeed, but I forgot to share my screen, so I'm recording once again. Okay. But I have experience. Like, think positively. Look at the bright side. I hope you learned how to land in this page, right? And you see that those two questions are already solved. Simple array sum and then solve me first one. Yes. Let's get a full screen and better view. Okay. Guys, we need to click on this compare the triplets one. Today's topic is this one. And you have the separated view, right? We don't want it because we do not use this part. We will only like come here and then copy this method structure because we'll use it. Otherwise, we do not need it. Okay. Guys, as I explained to you, I can easily like tell you what this question is about, but I don't want to make it, right? Because I want you to understand it. That's why I will really read it with you, because in the interview or in the just live, okay, you will not have some people together with you, like people not will explain it to you. So you better try to push yourself to understand it, okay? Although it is hard for you, although you do not know, you do not recognize some verbs, try to take notes and understand it. That's why I'll read it with you, and afterwards I will switch to the coding part and I will explain it to you, okay, how to code it. First, we have Alice and Bob. Yes, thank you. We have Alice and Bob. Tells us Alice and Bob each created one problem for Hackerrank. Perfect. We have Alice and Bob, and they are creating some questions for Hackerrank. And there is one reviewer. A reviewer rates the two challenges. Okay. Imagine that I am like Alice is creating something, Bob is creating something, and afterwards there's a reviewer who will review their questions and give them marks, some points. Awarding points on a scale like from what 1 to 100. This is called scale. From 1 to 100, it's a scale. Okay, 1 to 100 for three categories. There are three categories. One is problem clarity. If this is so understandable, okay, it is clear. So second one, originality. If it is not taken from someone else, but it is original. The third one is difficulty. So if it is really difficult, not so simple. Under those three categories, a reviewer will give points by comparing Alice and Bob's questions, okay? And underline, for example, for the first question, for the first category, I would say for clarity, Alice may get 1 point, maybe Bob gets 3 points, okay? The same implies for other ones. Like for originality, Alice get 1 and maybe Bob get 2, and for difficulty, Bob get 3 and then Alice get 1, etc. The rating for Alice's challenge is the triplet. We have triplet. Why? We have three categories and 3 points given to each person, right? And the rating for Bob's challenge is the triplet B. So as a result, from this understanding, you should be like kind of figuring out what you will be given as a parameter to your method, right? You will have two different lists, one for Alice, one for Bob, and each list will have three elements, like 1 through 3, for those categories: clarity, originality, difficulty. So easy to understand it. Next part, the task is to find their comparison points by comparing Alice's first and Bob's first, Alice's second one, Bob's second one, and Alice's third one, and the Bob's third one. As you know that in list we have indexes, right? So although it is first element, we say that it is zeros index. Second element, first index. Third element, second index. Please do not forget it. So next part, you will compare Alice's first element with Bob's first element, and then according to the comparison, you'll assign point whether to Alice or Bob. You also understand it. If Alice gets, for example, 3 points and Bob 1, so you'll assign 1 point to Alice. Okay, it's also understandable. Comparison points is the total points a person earned given A and B, determine their respective comparison points. Okay, those are, guys, in the, I would say, working environment. This section, as you see, this section is called business approach. Okay, it is described, right? What is need, what is that, what is what. There is no really, numbers under it. So we can call that this business in a user story certificate. I can call it is business approach, business explanation, business definition. Why a sort of customer need is that one. Okay, and here you have one example. As you see here, that may be technical explanation as well, because it shows us there's this A. It is an array which has 3 elements, 1, 2, 3, and the next one is B. Also, it has 3 elements. So you will make the comparisons of those indexes. Okay, it tells to us for element 0, Bob is awarded a point because A, as you see, 0 for the equal, etc. Like it says that here Alice got 1, Bob got 3, so Bob will get 1 point. For the second one's equal, so no one gets point. For the third one, Alice gets 3 and Bob gets 1, so after the comparison, Alice need to be assigned 1 point. So as a result, guys, as you see, the return array, there should be return array, and so from that part you need to understand it clearly that another array should be created, right? And the return array is 1 1 with Alice's score first, Bob's second. So the first element of this array implies to Alice's score, and then the second one Bob's score. So after your comparisons, you need to create one array, and then you put Alice's point inside of it and the Bob's point inside of it. So as you see, guys, return here, it explains it. There's this constraint. It tells you, okay, an element should be between 1 and 100, and sample input here 5, 6, 7, 3, 6, 10. So as a result, can you tell me what the result should be? You will compare 5 to 3, and I'll just get 1 point and return here, and those are equal, no one gets point. And then the last part, 7 to 10, so Alice will not get anything because Alice stay with 1. And then as you see from the last comparison, Bob gets 1, so as a result you need to return 1 1. After this explanation, guys, if you want to learn some more technical things, you can also try to understand those parts. But I think that's enough, right? That's enough. You got the understanding. We can switch to this part. As I told you, I have already recorded and written the code, but I will delete it. Here, this part. Let me tell you quickly. You have the method, okay? And you can simply here come this part and try to copy this and then use it, because it is Java and it is really similar. You'll see we will not change anything from here. So you have here this naming and public static. It is a return type. As I said, there needs to be created one array, and you will put the point for Alice and Bob in it, and it gets two parameters, right? And two arrays, one for Alice, one for Bob. I put here some points, right, to follow it. I can say that it's sort of technical approach. If I'm your technical lead or somehow, right, I would be writing those points for you to follow it while solving this question. So first is create two variables to store points. Second, create an array list to put the comparison points. Third, create the for loop to be able to compare elements. Use if-else statements, fill the array with the points, return the array. So guys, in the job, you are given this task, okay? And what you will do, you will get the first point, okay? You will try to make it. If you can't, you come to and ask questions. Like for the first point, I have some problem, I couldn't make it, could you please help me? That's the way. And if, let's say that if one day passed and then you come to me when I ask to you, right, okay, what is the progress you have done? And if you are telling me that like there's no progress, I couldn't make the first one, but I am really sort of ashamed to ask this question, etc. It is not a good attitude, okay? If you have a question you would have asked, that's the way of working. Create two variables to store points. Guys, you need to create two variables Okay, as you see, Alice points, Bob points, they are assigned 0 because later on we will change it, right? First is done. Second, create an integer list to put the comparison points. I copy this data type, say that comparison points, new list. Integer. Second step is done, and we will loop over and then make comparison. If you type for, you will see several options here. I will use this classical for. Here you have the index, okay, you have the length. I will put the first array here and then put size method. It will get the length of this array, and it says that like if it starts with 0 and you have this here checking mechanisms for. It checks if this index is less than this size, okay? As we are starting with 0, it will check that if 0 is less than, for example, 3, okay? And if it is okay, if it is true, so it will move to the inner part. And after this section, after the inner part, it will come here and then increase this index. So as it is 0, it will be 1. And then it will come here to check if 1 less than the size. Like for the good, if it is true, it will continue, okay? For our example, we will loop over this array and we will, guys, use if else if statements to compare elements. Okay. The first, if this is so little for you, let me zoom in and close this part. Okay, you have this array and you will compare the first element of Alice point with the first element of the Bob's. Guys, if you want to build something dynamic, right, you are using this index because each loop, this index is different. That's why you can, for example, compare the first elements, second elements, third elements, fourth elements, fifth elements. As you put here, not a dynamic sort of, not a sort the specific number 1, 2, 3, rather than you using one index, like one variable, and then change and then increase it. So you would achieve like comparing all elements of different arrays. It's possible. The first comparison, if Alice got more point from Bob, so what you will do, you will assign a point to Alice, right? Simply, you copy this one, paste it here, and bubble plus, you use it to increase a number, guys. It is the same of doing something like this. Thank you, slow one. Okay. Same thing. Second possibility is if Alice gets less point than Bob. So you put here this one and you increase Bob. For the third possibility, they will get equal points, right? So there's nothing to do with them. Will not increase anything. Neither one gets point. So after that, guys, create for loop, use if else statement. We also did it. Then at the moment, after for loop, okay, we are done. We assigned every point to proper person. We are done after for loop. So we are in this stage. We put the comparison points into the array and then return it. So first one, as you see, okay, we use put method, guys, for it. Okay. First one to put here is Alice. Yes. Yeah, let's continue. Okay, the first one is Bob, right? We need to put Bob first, and the second will be first one will Alice, and then second one Bob. Okay, guys, we are putting this like this. Okay, we put the first one to this comparison points, this list, and the second element is Bob's one, and after that you need to return it, right? Okay, perfect. Yes, that's simply all. Okay. Third question, we completed the third question, but you cannot understand whether you completed correctly, right? It is better to test it, but before you test it, I opened AutoSave. That's why I do not need to just save each time. So if you haven't opened this one, you can better save it. And what you need to, guys, is just deploy this source to org, okay? Otherwise, you cannot test it here. Yes. For list, we are using not put, but add. For map, we are using put method, guys. For list, it is add. Come on. Okay, worked, deployed. So, yes, I prepared this one, guys. As you see, this method gets two arrays, right? So you need to create two different arrays to send it to your method. And second point, your method returns something. I created one list, returned comparison points here to store what is returned, right? And after that, I system debug the result. So as you see here, for Alice, there are different elements. For Bob, there are different elements. So here, our method will compare the first element of Alice with the first element with Bob. So as a result, which one gets point? Here, Alice gets points. From here, Alice gets points. From here, Alice gets points. So as a result, like in the array, we should see like 3 for Alice, 0 for Bob, right? Let's check it. To be able to check it, you need to press Command, Shift, and P and click this one. Okay, it worked. let's check the result, guys. Okay, as you see, returned array of comparison points, 3 for Alice and 0 for Bob. It worked, we completed, but let's change it once again. In this case, Alice will get 2 and Bob will get 1. Okay, that could be better testing. As you see, it is working, guys. I hope you liked it. We completed this question as well. As you see, the fourth one will come here, fourth question. Those are warm-up questions. We are still warming up. It is easy, even under warm-up level. We are warming up. But I hope you liked it, guys. I can recommend one thing for your development. If you, just before you can try to solve those questions by yourself, understand by yourself, and then you can watch this video and compare what you have done and mine. And afterwards, after you really watched my way of coding, okay, you can try to use English and then record your own video. You can try to record your own video and use English language and try to explain in a way of I do, right? So it will improve your English, it will improve your coding skills. Please keep that in mind, and then see you for the next video. Bye bye.